Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I think we are live. I think we finally made it. We are doing a WNBA watch party like we promised this weekend. We are actually delivering on a promise for once. And I know we're firing up a little bit late as well too. Make no mistake, we had a couple of problems getting the Zoom loaded up, but now we're cooking. Now we're going, and the Wings hanging in there. It was looking like for a second that the Aces were just going to be doing their dominant thing again tonight. Jackie Young had a little run in the first quarter where she hit a couple shots in a sequence there, but the Wings are currently down 26-34. We got about 5 minutes left in the second quarter as we get fired up here on the start of this stream. Welcome in, anybody, of course. Welcome in if you're listening or watching this later, of course. But we're doing the live streams now, like we were saying, at least trying to do some more for different games, for different sports. We did a UFA watch party on Friday for the UFA semis, so check that out. A Tobias Brooks masterclass in the UFA semis for the who was it? The Carolina Flyers. Were they playing the Seattle Cascade? That's right. And Luke Ambrose also going off trying to carry his team. But Tobias Harris, if you guys want to watch us react to a Tobias Harris masterclass in the UFA semifinals, make no mistake, that stream is on here. And here we go again as we got an Aja Wilson and one trying to put the Aces back up 11. Now that we fire on the stream, are the Aces going to take over? Let's see if we can get a live box score real quick, because we're now a couple of games into the stretch run of the season here for the WNBA. I think this is their fourth game back from the Olympic break, so at least a little bit of a chance to get some rhythm. And I know for the Aces specifically, they were playing in the first half of this, or first 2/3 of the season, but pre-break anyways. They were playing in the first half of the season where they weren't the number one team, but they were still to the point where it's like, yeah, you're still probably going to pick them to win the title when it comes down to it. But some of the other pieces on this team, and they're not really other pieces. They're of course star players, and they're getting Chelsea Gray back as well too. But Jackie Young, make no mistake, Jackie Young, Kelsey Plum, the shooting percentages maybe have not been there from where they're at in this season, but we'll see. That's why I'm curious to see down the stretch run what that's going to look like. Because again, even if they numbers all look the same going into the playoffs, like you're still going to pick this team to win the title. But I think with especially the way the Liberty played them here recently, and picking up a win on them too this season, and that's not surprising that they're not going to sweep the Liberty. They're not going to sweep these other top teams in the finals or conference finals or whatever. But, just at least it being a little bit of a closer call than it was last year. Have we still not shot these free throws yet? No, I think I just missed it. But we've got another set of free throws going to the line. The Wings, oh yeah, they end up cutting it to 8 here with about 3:39 left. Missed the first. Oh, and the Wings sounded the buzzer on the miss. I don't know. Is that intentional? Is that something they do? That's almost kind of distracting. Well, yeah, I get it is distracting, but it's after the shot. Like, I get you can play in-arena sound effects, but they actually lit up the backboard. Can you light up the backboard after a shot? That must have been an error. Yeah, they didn't do it after that miss. I don't know if you're allowed to play the sound effects when you go back into play, but when we fired up the stream, they had on Jalen Wilson for the Brooklyn Nets, former Kansas alum, former Michigan player for, a second there before he flipped his commitment to Kansas. Turned out to be the right move. The man ended up getting a national title because of it, but they had him on the stream on the broadcast. If we can get him on the stream, call in. But they had him on the broadcast, and the reporter's first question to him was, "What brings you to the Wings game?" So I don't know if we've got, why are you interested in Wings basketball? It's like, hey, Jalen Wilson is a professional basketball player, and the WNBA is a growing in popularity sport. Let's see if we can get some. Is Jalen Wilson dating somebody at this game? IT will get on it. See if we can get some live finds. But we're going into timeout here. 2:53 left in the second. Wings only down by 4, 36-32. And the Wings record is going to be pretty deceiving this year compared to the team that's actually talented. Okay, IT is saying that Jalen Wilson is dating a volleyball player. And it's tough looking this stuff up too, because I mean, you never know how current this is. When we're talking about relationships, people in their 20s, I mean, we could be getting live. We might as well just get a tracker by the minute, a status update by the minute, with how this stuff can fluctuate sometimes. But yeah, an athlete for Jalen Wilson, but not in the WNBA. So I don't know if our sideline reporter was exposing Jalen Wilson, but the man was front row. I'm sure he wasn't hiding out too much. But oh yeah, we were gonna actually look up a box score and never made it there. Let's see if we can see who's doing well in the game so far. So for the Wings, who, like we said, only down by 4 late in the second, Natasha Howard, 5 for 10 from the field so far, 10 points. She's leading the team. Arike Ogunbowale, 7 points. And then Sabale has 6 points as well. She's 3 for 6. Let's see if we can get the announcers to say the first name, because I'm bad with the pronunciation. We've got Ogunbowale figured out because, her name's been known in the women's basketball circles since the Notre Dame days, since she was able to beat UConn in the semifinals. So it was the semifinals, right, in that March Madness tournament? And then, was it I think it was Mississippi State that they ended up beating in the national championship that year, and ended up winning it all. And the other buzzer beater that she hit in that championship too, of course that's going to get underrated because of how good the UConn team was at that point and the historic nature of beating that run. But she had to hit back-to-back buzzer beaters to win the national title that year. And I think we mentioned this earlier too, but the Wings record is going to look a little bit deceiving. I think they're only at 6 or 7 wins so far, and they probably have the worst record in the WNBA. I don't know if the Mystics or we just want to start throwing out team names, but I don't know which one of these other teams haven't necessarily put the wins together. And make no mistake, people, the computer is going to have trouble loading tonight. It's just what it is. So he may be delayed on getting the IT facts in straight. But, the Sparks are the team that would get the number 1 pick in the WNBA draft right now, if we were going by record, at 6-24. The Wings are 7-22 going into tonight's game. A bucket for the Aces, 32-38. We're back from timeout. But the Wings team, if I'm not mistaken, it's kind of just starting to form together, at least, ideally what their roster is going to be, because of course they've had Ogunbowale there for the majority of the season. She's been able to stay healthy, and she's been able to put up crazy points this year. I don't want to say it's a career year for her because I don't know her career numbers off the top of my head like that, but from the times that I've looked at them, I want to say that it's a career year. Okay, we've got her numbers pulled up. It's her second in scoring. So her second season, the 2020 season, she was 22.8 points a game, 41.3% from the field, finished 6th in MVP voting. That's still probably her best season so far, but she's been, like we said, staying healthy. And I guess she only played 22 games that year. And I guess was that some sort of COVID stuff too, 2020? I don't remember how that lined up there. But at 28 games played this year. So I know, like we said, Natasha Howard is having a great game tonight. But I believe she's been in and out of the lineup. Obviously, Sabale missed a big chunk of time. She's just now starting to get back. And JC Sheldon as well, too, a rookie in her rookie season, is, just like all these other rookies, getting to the point where she's really started to find her groove in the season. That break, I'm sure, was helpful for, more than just one rookie. But now that they're getting all the pieces back in and she's having to get familiar with the new pieces after already having to be familiar with the new offense, now actually all the team, I think, is starting to play. But Jackie Young with the steal, Kelsey Plum in transition. It's just a deadly three-person combination in transition. They got Jackie Young to Kelsey Plum, then Kelsey Plum to Asia Wilson. Asia Wilson, of course, is going to get the layup and gets it in. But was that Sheldon jacking up that three? I don't think it was. The Wings also have another player, and I don't know if I'm going to say her name right, but is it Maddie Segrist? And I believe was it last season I guess 2 seasons ago now, technically, for the NCAA. So not this tournament that just wrapped up, but the season before that, she would either have been second or first in scoring that year, in points per game for the women's side for the NCAA. It was her and Caitlin Clark were 1 and 2, and I don't remember the order. I don't remember if Segrist ended up actually being number 1, or if she was number 2, and it was like, I was thinking, man, imagine just being the number 2 scoring person in the year that Caitlin Clark, the historic seasons, matching Pistol Pete Maravich in terms of scoring productions. There we go. Sabali with another 3. The Wings still only down by 5 for a 7-win team, hanging in there with the potential 3-peat champions. Jackie Young not able to get a 3. And this will be interesting, too, to see kind of who, I don't know, do we know if the Aces have... Aces fans, slide in the chat. Do you guys have a solid 5th player locked into that lineup? Because Chelsea Gray, of course, as she comes back from injury. And we mentioned the 3 other people earlier from that fast break play. But you got Asia Wilson, Chelsea Gray, Kelsey Plum, Jackie Young. And then I feel like there's another one that another player that usually is in that rotation that I'm just forgetting about. But Kate Martin, shout out Iowa, hometown. But maybe that'll be interesting to see who emerges as the 5th person in that lineup as well, too. Oh, Ogunbowale. Looked like she was going to get to the basket with 5 seconds left, but tried to feed it inside, and it ends up getting knocked away. But I think they still have the ball. I think they're still good. Oh, knocked away again on the inbound. Okay, try again. It's okay. Takes a little bit of time off the clock, but honestly, you're not running time as you get to run a set, so that's not the worst thing in the world. Oh, I don't know if that's the best shot. Oh, it almost went in. I think. Maybe I just had a bad angle, but Ogunbowale, I don't know if she's trying to get a foul there with 3 seconds left, but not able to get the foul or the crazy shot. They still only down by 5, though, going into half. Should we pull up the line and see what the line was for this game? Because I feel like 5 was probably... They're still covering the spread. Pause at this point. If they were able to keep it within 5 for the rest of the game. Let's see if we can get the pregame odds, and then we'll go and see. We'll check and see if it's smart to live bet any of the Aces Wing stuff. And this is the only WNBA game in action right now. It's the only WNBA game taking place tonight. So there's no other stuff to update you on or look forward to. But yeah, going into the game, Vegas was favored by 10.5. So Dallas even has a couple of points to play with here in the second half. The over-under for the game for the total was 173. Dallas 122 on the money line. Okay, so now let's see what we got for the live bets. And are we going to live bet the 7-22 Wings to take down the Aces? Probably not. But make no mistake, we're just going to double check and see if there's value there, because we wouldn't be as smart businessman if we weren't checking for value. Yeah, they're like, the Wings are not going to win this whatsoever. And, they're still down by 5. But the Aces minus 720 going into the second half. The money line, though, it's moved or the spread, sorry, moved at least a point. Aces are now minus 9.5. And the total has moved a little bit, too. The over-under is 170.5 versus, like we said, it was 173. I don't know. I think the Wings might end up keeping this close. With Natasha Howard back in the mix, at least they have people in all the spots on the court to attack the Aces. They've got Sabali as a wing. They've got Ogunbowale as a guard. And like we said, they got Howard down low, who's at least, nobody's really Asia Wilson right now, but at least one of the people that's going to make her work a little bit. Let's see if we can get an update on the Natasha Howard season. 3-time WNBA champ for Natasha Howard. Wow. Long career, storied career. Shout out. Finished 5th in MVP voting in the 2019 season for Seattle. So, has been amongst the top players in the league at some point in her career. But 17 games played this year. So she's missed 10-ish. Like we said, Ogunbowale was sitting there at 28. So, looks like she missed a chunk of the season. And I guess that would have been going into a little bit before the break as well, too. So, it looks like May into June. And then played before the break. Looks like she got about 10 or 12 games. Yeah, about 12 games played. And for the season, 17 points a game, 46% from the field. So kind of right on pace. Honestly, one of the better seasons that Natasha Howard is having, if not the best. Let's see. In terms of, well, no, I guess some of those early years, the field goal percentage was pretty nuts. But the scoring, this is her second highest scoring total outside of that season in which she finished 5th in the MVP voting. First team All-NBA. Oh, and Defensive Player of the Year. Taking all the hardware this year for Natasha Howard. Let's see who the MVP was in 2019. Was this Elena Delle Donne? Yep, this was an Elena Delle Donne season. Brittany Griner leading in points per game at 20 points per game that year. But Natasha Howard in the mix for the MVP. And now, like we're saying, back in the mix consistently in this Wings lineup. Sabali's only played 4 games this year. Oh, yeah, and they have Odyssey Sims as well, too. Is she still on the team? I thought she was bouncing around. Yeah, she might not be on the team. Maybe that's why she's only played 7 games for the team. But Segrist as well, too, has only played in 16 games this year. So they kind of just need to get these pieces to stay together to, at least... Can we get up to 7th? I guess 7th in the what is in the WNBA? The top 8 end up making the championship or end up making the playoffs. And then we put is it only 4 teams go in the lottery? How does that work for the WNBA? Do you have 4 lottery teams and then choose from there? Or do you got bottom, 7 and 8? Do the bottom end playoff teams get into the mix as well, too? No, yeah, just a 4-person lottery for the WNBA. So I wonder how they rig the ping pong balls for that. We won't look into it too much. Halftime is wrapping up for the Wings in the Aces. I'm glad this is a great game. As somebody who roots for the Aces and Becky Hammon, yeah, of course, just as a team, you want them to see them, you want to see them dominate opponents, and you want to see that level of play every night and just feel good about it going into the playoffs. But, of course, if you're watching a stream, fun to have a nice competitive game in the background. And if we make no mistake, if we had to try to fill time and break down what's going on in the WNBA this year, I know we've promised to try to keep watching, and that's really what we promised. We promised to try, and make no mistake, we're still trying, but I would not call us a WNBA expert so far. We have not been firing off the WNBA takes on the pod. Make no mistake. And, you know, maybe we want to stay out of the WNBA conversation sometimes, but I feel like these watch parties are going to be a good way to stay locked in and really focus on what's going on in the WNBA. Is that what these watch parties were? Just like, hey, you've got to force yourself to actually. And we're live. We can't cut this out. We don't ever have, you know, we love watching the WNBA, but like actually trying to watch every game, sit down, you know, really catch up on the league. Make sure you're committing like a fan commits to the league. We want to give the WNBA, you know, as much attention. When Kelsey Plum is playing, make no mistake, we want to try to lock in as much as possible. And that's what we're doing right here. So after the half, down by 5. What adjustments do the Wings need to make to beat the Aces? Well, can they trade for Brianna Stewart at halftime and bring her in and add her? Obviously, you know, we're saying add her to the core of people: Sabale, Ogunbowale, Natasha Howard. You're not going to want to touch your main players. Pause for a one-game trade. But if they could trade for her or, yeah, probably her. I don't know. Would Caitlin, if they just could trade for Caitlin Clark halfway through the game? I don't know. If they're probably still not beating the Aces. I think the Aces might be able to get it done. But is this where we expose ourselves? The Aces are great, too, because you can just name all the top players in the WNBA and just, like, name the Aces roster. And be like, you're like, oh, yeah, that's all totally correct. Asia Wilson, Chelsea Gray, Kelsey Plum, Jackie Young. Wow, you actually do know a little bit about the WNBA. It's like, no, the Aces are just outside of Caitlin Clark, the only other team that ends up playing on these national games. I do feel like the Wings have gotten quite a bit of ESPN / WNBA TV. I get NBA TV screen time as well too this year. Ogunbowale, is that the Sabale star power? Is it the Sabale Kelsey Plum matchup? Did we ever get whatever happened to her and Grant Williams? Was that just it after that clip? Nothing ever happened? Grant Williams couldn't end up following through. It's tough. Have they been spotted? Maybe I'm just out of the mix. Let's see if we can get a live update on this. I mean, he's not at the game. They weren't interviewing him, asking him what brings him to the WNBA games. But it doesn't look like there's anything that happened in terms of dating. You know? But she said that he already had his number when they were making that, when they had that exchange that went viral, which, I mean, wouldn't be shocking, but does that mean she'd already friend zone him? Grant Williams just straight to the friend zone? Is Grant Williams, ladies, drop in the chat, is Grant Williams friend zone material? Is he even a guy you want in the friend zone? I don't know. Maybe that's a win for Grant Williams. But either way, you know, as long as you're on the roster, right? That's what counts. Just get in the phone. And then at least it's better than not being in the phone. Oh yeah, and they have Nafisa Collier as well too. I can't believe we didn't mention her for the Wings with all of the people that have been in and out with injury. Or did they just get her via trade? Let's get a little update on Collier here and see what's going on. I know she was on the select team, or no, she was on Team USA, right? On the gold medal team, 4-time All-Star. Minnesota? Why were they talking about Nafisa Collier? I think they had the wrong game up here for the... Are they running the wrong graphics on NBA TV? We should actually pay attention. We're paying more attention to these Sky Rizzy commercials. We're getting lost in our rambling. The Sabale research threw us off. We got behind, but the second half pause is about to fire back up here. I thought we were going. I thought the second half was starting like 5 minutes ago, but apparently I was wrong. Is there some kind of review? I don't know. We'll turn the announcers up and we'll get locked back in for the second half and see what's going on. Shout out BetStamp. Shout out Pura Vida, of course. Links in the description if you guys want to support, because make no mistake, these people, they need your support. We've already lost one. DRF is down. RIP DRF Sportsbook. It was a good run. But BetStamp still going strong. Pura Vida still going strong. And who knows, maybe some of the DRF people have moved on to BetStamp and Pura Vida. I wouldn't be surprised. There's a lot of great people in the mix between those three places, or, 2 places, 2.5. We give it a half for the app still being up anyways, but, click in the links so we don't lose another one. We like Pura Vida. We like BetStamp. We don't want to see him go anywhere. We're fans. And should we just throw the DRF? Should we start like a Kickstarter, a GoFundMe for DRF? An RIP DRF fund? And maybe we'll put links for that in the description too. And we'll see if we can get DRF going again. I guess the thing is, it was Iowa only, which is, definitely a challenge. I know the Iowa people are definitely... Make no mistake, the Iowa people love throwing money into the sport gambling. They love sports gambling, but apparently they love doing it on the major apps. And, there's a couple of casinos scattered throughout the state. I've never done like a sports betting in a casino type of thing where you're doing like a, live on the trading floor. Is it, are you just throwing down bets at that point? How does that work? I've been in Vegas a couple of times. Surprisingly, never in a sports book on a Sunday, but I've been in the summer once when it was not like an NFL Sunday or anything like that. And I don't even think Summer League was going on at that point too. I was just in Vegas for a summer. In Vegas for summer and no Summer League. What was I doing? What was I thinking? I can't remember. That's crazy. But yeah, there was no sports that weekend, and then other times it just hasn't worked out. But I think we're actually going here. The second half is about to start. Please just put Kelsey Plum back on the screen. Sabale? Ogunbowale? And just in terms of entertainment value, too, I think, like we were saying, Ogunbowale is one of the more exciting players, so probably why they're going to get the TV time. I guess from that standpoint, it is a little surprising that she hasn't been on Team USA. If we did if we had the numbers on the national TV game breakdown for the WNBA, for the teams, I'm sure Vegas would be one. Maybe it'd probably be between Vegas and maybe Caitlin Clark for number 1, number 2. But I would say the Wings are in the top 5 for sure. The Liberty, of course, also going to be in the mix there too. But outside of those, 2 teams and then the Fever, and then you're just, you're trying to think, what are we putting on TV? In terms of name value, I feel like Ogunbowale, it's like Antetokounmpo, one of the more recognizable names in the league. But because of that UConn in that Notre Dame run, when they beat UConn, a lot of people just remember her from that too as well, I would assume. So both teams only made 3 3-pointers in the first half. I'm sure that's key in keeping the Wings within striking distance. 0 free throws for the Wing is kind of crazy, and they're at home too. So I don't know. Did they not? Do they need to slip the Revs another 5 going into the second half? We'll see what happens. The Dallas refs were the ones. Dallas was in the Donahue thing. I don't know why I want to. We're live. We shouldn't be throwing out names. Allegedly. It's all allegedly. But I want to say there was some kind of Dallas Donahue connection. We need to go back and watch that Untold. Which reminds me, I totally forgot, but we're too sucked into the Kelsey Plum. Watch Kelsey Plum. But Netflix today dropped a new doc, a new Untold doc. I guess I didn't see if they dropped a bunch of other ones today as well, too. I'm sure they usually drop the Untold things in a series. But they dropped a Untold documentary on Connor Stallions, the sign stealer, and they dropped one on the Michigan sign stealing scandal. And I mean, what is the time frame that we have to wait to like release a documentary as like a looking back sort of what happened? Michigan won the national title like 7 months ago. They literally won the national title in January. I get that. Make no mistake, the team is dramatically different. The entire coaching staff is gone. Maybe the sign stealing is a part of that. But this just happened. Like, the body's not even cold yet. Do we need a doc on the whole thing? But at the end, I guess spoiler alert, if you haven't seen the Michigan sign stealing doc, I don't know if you need to put a spoiler alert on a documentary because most of it's public information. But spoiler alert, just in case, Dallas cutting it to 3? Should we have live bet Dallas at +4, whatever? I think winning and covering the spread are two different things. But IT, go ahead and just put a little bit down on that -9.5 and see if it's still there. But what were we saying? Oh yeah, the untold doc for Michigan. And they cut to the end of the doc where he's like watching the team win the national title. They got the Netflix cameras there. And, I didn't really read about any of the behind the scenes stuff going into the doc. So I guess I didn't read that if they had announced beforehand that, oh yeah, we have this documentary. I don't know if they, like when they announced that they had the cameras, but I mean, you want to talk about the body not being cold. Having the Netflix cameras follow you while the team is winning the national title is kind of a crazy move because, I mean, one of the things that is, I think, going to be, well, for one, one of the crazy things about just the whole scandal is, and, they do mention this in the doc as well, too, which for doc quality, I don't know if we want to come out here and give it a C- right off the top. Maybe we'll save that for the end. But, they do cover the fact that, oh, yeah, from the players' perspective, they feel like they're getting left. They only have one player from the team actually in the documentary, but they're, make sure to be like, hey, the players felt like they were being not looked at properly, because of the sign stealing scandal, and their competitiveness, they felt like the perception of that, it shouldn't have mattered for them because they were like, well, we're really competing and doing everything the same anyways, and we're not like willingly doing the sign stealing scandal, like we're not locked in on this. But they were saying that they felt like that their competitive nature was being overlooked a little bit throughout the season. And yes, people may view it that way, but, and by the way, the Wings still down by 6 here, or down by 2 with about 8 minutes left in the third. Just a quick update. A'ja Wilson, 21 points for the game. Perfect from the free throw line so far. But there's, they cover in the doc that the perception is of how much the sign stealing, how much the sign stealing benefited the Michigan roster and the roster's perception of that. But this also took place during the season. So while on one hand, you may be arguing that, yes, they are benefiting from a sign stealing scandal, on the other hand, they're having to overcome the fact that there's a scandal and investigation going on midway through the season when you're trying to pursue a national title. And the fact that they're still able to win the national title and overcome the investigation and all that stuff is, I think, of course, it's gonna be an overlooked part in the whole thing because only Michigan people are gonna feel bad for Michigan, and non-Michigan people, of course, are only gonna remember the sign stealing part of it. But, and it is what it is. But the fact that you can win the national title, and they remind us all again in the doc that Harbaugh, he gets suspended for the last 3 games of the season. He's not even on the sideline for the 2 biggest games of the year when they're playing Penn State and when they're playing Ohio State. And the whole, you've got a staffer now out of the mix. And even if you're not doing the sign stealing things, like now your whole game plan, again, they're firing like linebackers, coaches, and stuff. Your whole game day routine is getting messed up, and your preparation for the week to week and the preparing for your opponent is just going to be a little bit different, and now your focus is going to be off. So the fact that you have to overcome all this stuff and still try to win the national title is, shout out to those guys for doing it. Us Michigan fans will be the only ones to give you credit. Make no mistake. But we're actually going to take a quick IT timeout because the WNBA is in commercial break right now. So we're going to take advantage of it, and we will be right back in 2 minutes. Don't go anywhere. Ladies and gentlemen, this is embarrassing. We lost the stream. It happens. We're in the process of learning how to do and pull off the watch party, the live stream stuff. So make no mistake, you guys. If you guys are watching now, you guys are in on the early the early days. This is the trial and error period of the Rem and Sam podcast as we try to work out and figure out the last couple of kinks and get everything situated correctly and getting underway. Thankfully, we didn't run into any technical difficulties on the last episode with the UFA watch party. We did that all smoothly. So go check that out. The stream's going to be there, but I think we're probably up on a new stream. I don't think we were able to get up on the old stream. So unfortunately, I think this is a little two-parter. We'll work some IT magic. Maybe we'll put them together and just throw the vid up to tomorrow, all in one piece. But if you guys are jumping in part 2 or picking up where you guys left off, or I guess if you guys are still here from the first part and just watching this all in one piece, like we said, we might clip this together. Welcome back. But we're just in time for the fourth quarter, and the Wings are still keeping it close. It's 61-69 as we get the fourth quarter started. But make no mistake, the Wings are going to have to send a double team at A'ja Wilson. Let's double check, and she might be at 30. She was just at 20 a second ago. But I think she might be at a 30 piece tonight. 32 points for A'ja Wilson. 14-19. She hasn't even missed. She's 73% from the field. Jackie Young, 5 for 11. Gustafson's played 10 minutes tonight. She's had a good run. Maybe not. 0 for 3. I take it back. But Kelsey Plum, 6 points. A'ja Wilson, what a monster. 4 rebounds, 2 assists. Okay, she's sitting right now. So the Wings down 6, if I can do math. This is going to be a big stretch. This is Jokic is off the court. And you need to try to close the gap a little bit here. Do we got J.C. Sheldon in the game at all? First round pick. Whoa, Kelsey Plum in transition. Can't be stopped. You always forget how fast she is. She's got to be, just in general, in terms of speed with the ball. Pause. We're live. Maybe we should take the live stream back down. IT, that's the nice thing is, make no mistake, IT likes to be able to edit and clean some stuff up, but we'll risk it for the biscuit anyways. Okay, we got free throw attempts for the Aces. A chance to go up 7. Wait, what are we reviewing? Anytime they pull out the monitors, it's like, oh no. Oh, and then now we're throwing to commercial. Yeah, this could be a minute. And I missed it too on what the review is actually going to be about. They're going to the line on what seemed like a pretty routine call. I guess, again, when I watched the replay of the foul, I didn't see anything. I can't really hear what the announcers are saying. I got the volume turned down too low. I should probably turn it up a little bit. Why am I doing it now? I see there's a Safe Light commercial. Sonic commercial. When the game comes back on, we'll get locked back into the audio. But I didn't see anything super aggressive on the replay. Are they just reviewing, like, possession? Is it a block? Is it even a foul? I just assumed it was a foul. It's the Aces. I assume they got the call. But I think that it's hard to, this is one of these teams, it's hard to double anybody because of the depth in the team, the little 2017 Warriors-ish. But at this point, with especially the way some of the performances have shaken out tonight, make no mistake, they need some help. Whoever's guarding A'ja Wilson. You can't do it alone. Pause. And I don't think anybody in the league can, but we're still talking about basketball. But with it being this close, and I don't know, are they wanting to tank? WNBA people, just slide in the chat. If we've got any people back in the chat from last time, slide in the chat. Is there what's the WNBA scene look like this year for the draft? Obviously, Caitlin Clark was such a big piece of college basketball. It's like, what else was going on outside of the Caitlin Clark thing? Especially, you got to remember, people, we're in Iowa too, so we have the hometown excuse. We can be a little bit biased because the Caitlin Clark thing is literally taking place in our backyard. At least it was when it was going on in Iowa City. But for this upcoming season, who are the big draft people? Is there like a tank worthy? Is there a Cooper Flag? I mean, for any of our WNBA people that may not know what's going on in the NBA, you ever heard of Cooper Flag? You ever heard of Ace Bailey? Dylan Harper? Because make no mistake, the NBA's got a couple of names this year that teams are looking at, teams are salivating over, and teams will be losing games for... Oh, Paige Beckers, I forgot. We got Paige Beckers this year. So, yeah, the Wings, take Ogunbowale out. What are we doing? We don't want to win this game. We got to get Paige Beckers. Beckers next to Ogunbowale could be pretty nuts. What's the contract situation for Ogunbowale? See, these are the NBA things that are just always running through your mind when you're watching a team. You're like, is this person even going to is this person going to be here in 6 months? Is how you watch the NBA now. Will this person be playing with Paige Beckers in 6 months? But otherwise, we got am I saying this first name right? Anisha Morrow? And then UFC's got another player. I guess Juju Watkins hasn't been in the draft yet, but another player outside of Juju Watkins, Kiki Irefin? Kiki Irefin? If I said that last name right. A power forward, front court player out of USC. Let's professionally look her up real quick. Because if it was Kelsey Plum, we'd have to clarify. I guess it's not because she has anything out there like that, but you get what I'm saying. I can't even spell this last name right. Irefin? $25 points a game. I'm not sure if that was like per 36 because I'm looking at Tankathon and sometimes they always post the per 36s just instead of the normal numbers. They've got Paige Beckers at 24. She might have been. Yeah, that was a per 36. So at USC, we've got 19 points a game. Paige Beckers is at 22 if we round up. Allie, drop in the chat if you're watching. What's up with your USC prospect this year? I know you talked a lot about Juju Watkins, but and one. for the Wings, Natasha Howard. Is Asia Wilson still off the floor? Yeah, Asia Wilson hasn't checked back into the game yet. Gustafson holding it down at the center position, but Howard's going to get the and one here if she's able to convert this free throw. This would cut it to 5. Asia Wilson not at the scorers tables yet. There's 8.5 left. We're exposing ourselves. Aces, people, drop in the chat. What's the substitution patterns for your team? When are we going to see Asia Wilson? When's she checking back in? Another free throw attempt here for Natasha Howard. Making it difficult. Pause. Or no, we're not going to the free throw. We're just getting a reset. But this is the time to attack, too, because make no mistake, Asia Wilson, top 3 defensive player, just like offensive. It's the two-way effect, people. Get to the rim while she's off the court. And I'm interested to watch Segrist as well, too, because, like I said, we were keeping an eye on that name the year Caitlin Clark was... The year she was going toe-to-toe with Caitlin Clark for the scoring title. Should we just go ahead and look that up? Since we literally have the internet right here. And we might as well fact check ourselves and see what she actually finished. I want to say she was in the 27 point per game range that year. Which, shout out to her if she was over Caitlin Clark that year. Shout out to her anyways, just for being in the mix. I before E, how do you spell it? I before E, except after Maddie? I'm not sure how the rule goes, but we'll give it a goog and we'll see. See what we can find. 66-72. Missed free throw. Score still stands. 7.5 minutes left in the fourth as Ogunbowale brings the ball up the court. Can we get a screen? Some on-ball help? Oh, there we go. Good find by Sabale. Sabale's playmaking, I gotta say, I really like. I don't know if anybody out there does the WNBA trade value. Ringer, do the WNBA trade value, because I'd be curious to see who would be the number one off this Wings team. Because, again, Ogunbowale, the name power, the star power, the points per game, she's the total package as a basketball player. On, off the court, I don't know. But Sabale, the wing, like we said, the playmaking. She's had some really good passes on some drives tonight that have looked pretty nice, but we're not poking our head in for 2 minutes and trying to tell you how to rank your players. I'm just saying I'd be curious to see from somebody who does rank the players who you would rather build your team around. Drop in the chat, people. Drop in the chat. Oh, airball check from Ogunbowale. It happens to the best of them. Wait, did we get a... Oh, we got a foul. Okay, I take it back. No airball. We're good. In the record books, there's officially no airball. And she has a chance to cut it to 5 here with about 6:45 left. in the fourth. 5 for 13 tonight from the field for Ogunbowale. They say 13, 14 points? Just keep it within 9.5. That's all we ask. If you could keep it within 9.5 and then get Paige Beckers, it'd be a win-win for everybody. Are they talking about that on ESPN? I haven't tuned into ESPN much recently. Could that be because my TV died? Probably. But are they talking about the race for Paige Beckers on like NBA Today and all that stuff? Because she definitely has to be in this year, right? Because she's 5th year this year. She could have been in the draft last year, but if I'm not mistaken. But I think it's the right move. Be the number 1 overall pick. And on Tankathon right now, when we were just looking at it, they had the Sparks. Well, of course, yeah, because they have the worst record. But the Sparks would be the number 1 pick based on that. So Paige Beckers in LA. Howard again cuts it to 2. 21 and 5. 3 blocks for Natasha Howard tonight. Here we go. Little horns action. I'm pretty sure. If the Connor Stallion doc taught us anything, it's that we just need to do more charting because, I mean, that was basically his whole defense in this in his whole case was like, I just chart everything, and that's how I knew. But I believe if we were talking about that earlier as well too, with the cameras following him around at the end of the season, watching him win the national title. And I had to look up all the executive producers after the end of this because I was like, well, did Connor Stallions have something to do with this? If he's literally got the cameras following him around as this is happening. Again, investigation is literally taking place in the season. And he's got him there at the end of the season. So, like, ongoing investigation in the moment. I don't know if Netflix is contacting him. And I guess that's just the thing. Like, as these things happen, like, we just want the documentary out as soon as possible. So I guess do they just do like if we get like a big sort of turn in the story, do they just do like a part 2 or Untold Continued or whatever? But he's got the cameras following him around at the national title. And then it's also very obvious that he's guilty of what they're accusing him of. And it's still, like, the details of it are all still really foggy. And if anything, the big concern would be, would Michigan lose their national title? Does not seem like that's in play. It just seems like the NCAA really wants to keep things moving and just get on with it. And like they mentioned at the end of the doc as well, too, they've changed the rules this year to include the helmets. The coaches can now actually talk to the quarterbacks through the helmets, and they have the communications, which was the whole point of the sign stealing. Was in college that was not allowed like it is in the pros. So you have to signal from the sidelines. I guess if you want to be quick and efficient and try to not chew up the whole play clock, but one of the best ways to do it, obviously, is to do the sideline signals and just, have codes and shoot codes out to your quarterback. Pause. But Connor Stallions his dad called him the Rain Man of game planning. So, we don't have to even feel bad about doing it. His dad basically called him autistic. But, make no mistake, the man knew how to chart out and graph out all these different codes and all these different signs. And they also include the military background, which a lot of people were crediting the discipline that he had to his military background, which is absolutely true. But they talked about in his backstory that the reason he went to military school was his desire to be a coach and be not just a coach, but be a great coach. And he noticed that all of the great coaches went to military schools as a part of their background. So he went to a military school to be in line with the background of these other great coaches. And I don't know if it was just all, I was some basketball coaches too, as well, too, because he was talking Coach K, Pop, just in general, Bear Bryant, where have the other great coaches attended school? And a lot of them had attended the academy. Now, there's a lot of them are, a lot of old guys were a lot of old guys just going to I guess, there was a war going on back in the day. A lot of people are just signing up, I'm sure. But, people were definitely going to different schools back then. And as a byproduct of that, or I shouldn't say as a byproduct of that because we're not historians, but a possible byproduct of that is you get all these great coaches just happen to be attending these military schools. But Connor Stallions there decides to go to the military school. So it's like, yeah, the military school definitely, I'm sure, increased that discipline. But clearly he was like in some kind of, he was thinking 2 steps ahead the whole time anyways. So he was on pace to just be the greatest sign stealer in the history of sign stealing. But free throws for the Aces, it was tied for a second, but now they're up 1. It's 79-80 with about 4.5 minutes left. Whoa, Chelsea Gray. She threw it off of Segrist. I think it's still going to be Ace's ball. But this guy is basically setting himself up to be this great coach, and then his initial job in, I believe he's at the Navy Academy, is the military that he's branch of the military that he's in. But basically, they just have him start decoding people's plays, which it's so funny that the Navy Academy that's like where he got his start doing that as well too. Which I guess as the doc goes out and as they lay out sign stealing and all that stuff, it's very, and we use that term loosely, but very prevalent in college football. If not, just everybody goes ahead and do it, which makes sense as well too. If these other teams are going to be throwing out these signals during the game, like, hey, a potential great advantage we could have is just to know exactly what their game plan is going to be. So it would be a wise thing to just invest in that anyways. But if the Navy was also, in the military schools was also on the cutting edge of sign stealing and Spygate and all that stuff, I wouldn't be shocked on that either. But the man goes to the military schools, gets this incredible, extra push of just discipline on top of whatever sort of Rain Man brain that he's already operating with, becomes this sign stealing prodigy by just charting out every possible sign that he's seen and just basically collecting a database and trying to get as much information on it as possible. But at one point, he himself goes through and like he has like this little studio set up in his apartment where he can take pictures. So when he sees signs and he's getting signs watching film and he's collecting all this data, just watching it and from all these games and stuff, he's going into the studio, posing like the signal, posing like the code, and then putting that into a database. So he just has it all laid out. He can see all the codes in front of him and he's got this all mapped out and just becomes this all-time, elite sign stealer. Make no mistake, the man is the Muhammad Ali of sign stealing. He is the great one. He's Wayne Gretzky, Michael Jordan, Tom Brady, but has all the charts, has all the stuff. And he wanted to eventually end up the head coach of Michigan football, but he wanted to end up at Michigan football. That was his school that he loved as a kid, that his family loved, and that, he wanted to make an impact on. So ends up running into the Harbaughs. I think it was at some kind of camp. I think it was at a football camp, and then ends up on the team. I make no mistake, like we said, the doc was a C-, so there might have been a lull in the middle. But I believe he met the Harbaughs at a camp, and was able to end up on the staff that way. And then one of the reasons that he was able to, quote unquote, gain so much power, that he was able to, I guess, become so influential in Michigan's game planning, all this stuff, is because the accuracy at which he was predicting the codes. And he's like, make no mistake, like we're saying, the man was incredible at his job. He knew what the team was doing. He was basically, I mean, they had a wizard on the sideline. The guy could just tell you what the team was going to do every time they signaled. It was a great advantage, but also, like the doc laid out, we had the best team last year, and we won the national title fair and square with McCarthy. Shout out Blake Corum. But, it rims in. Sabale for the three. The Wings, they got the lead. Can we get a graphic, WNBA? Can we get a graphic? When was the last time there we go. First lead since 4-2. 4-2. And now with 3:45 left in the fourth, the Wings have taken a 2-point lead. It's 80-82. Holy cow. Can we live bet the Wings to win? We're going to be rich for getting this, covering the spread. They're minus 108. Vegas still favored by a half a point. Oh, and the money line moved back to plus odds. It's plus 100 now. I guess not technically plus odds, but 1-1. There we go. 126 minus 122. We've got Kelsey Plum at the free throw line. It's tied. It is 82-81. We're currently at 335, I guess, for anybody that needs to know if we're synced up. We got 335. Or no, not. Yeah, we're chilling. Kelsey Plum at the free throw line. Tied it up, 82-82. Kelsey Plum, they just showed 8 points, 3 for 9 from the field. They don't run a lot of on-ball screens and stuff for Ogunbowale like early in the action. They don't really do it at all. I mean, but make no mistake, she might not even need it. Just let her go one-on-one. Pause. So we've got Sabale on Kelsey Plum. They get the switch. Oh, the foul on the 3 is crazy. You can't do that up by 2. We got a limping Chelsea Gray. We can't have that. She was limping around to start the season. Can't lose Chelsea Gray. I think she's going to be okay, though. She'll step up, knock these free throws down. We'll be good to go. Oh, are they reviewing for landing space? Flagrant? Is that a flagrant if you're in the landing space? I mean, she is in the landing space. That's what the foul is, so. The defender was flying in on the closeout. Pause. Would the WNBA care if we found a way to play this stream in the background? Can we do a sunglasses situation, get a little reflection? Didn't they start a GoFundMe for the person that did the stream, that first ever Angel Reese game? It wasn't that even that was a preseason game too, right? We're just trying to get the word out, the WNBA. The W. Should we check back in? The Wings up by 2. They're plus 230. Oh, wait. FanDuel is ahead of our stream right now. Our stream is behind. FanDuel's got them losing. Can we see? Oh, nope. Our stream is just behind. I didn't know if we accidentally paused or just got caught lacking, but FanDuel's got the script. They've got it at 84. Yeah, I guess they're a couple of seconds ahead. Post the free throw makes. Chelsea Gray knocks him down. 85, 84. Also, they hit her with the... Those were the free throws for the landing space foul, and they're inbounding. Chelsea Gray in the post. Chelsea Gray in the post to A'ja Wilson on top. Pause. Oh. Kelsey Plum tried to go a little pump fake. Midi. Got blocked. Sabale! Oh, no. Is that a foul? Yeah, we're good. Sabale going to the free throw line. Oh, no, the foul is, I believe, going to be Howard going to the free throw line. Should we do adopt a WNBA player like we're doing for our fantasy team? Sabale? We might be in the next clip. Getting Sabale's number. Sideline at the game. I guess we're probably not going to be sitting sideline at the WNBA. You're going to see us make our way down from the the top of the stands. Try to slide in the pick. IT, just go ahead and live bet it. I make the call. The Wings are up 1. It's 2:20. Just do it. Come on, Dallas. Now we've got stakes. I'm already thinking about Paige Beckers, the tank for Paige Beckers. I forgot about that when I made the call. A'ja Wilson with the midi. Puts the Aces back up 1. She's got to be at 40 at this point. Well, we have had a couple of reviews. She is at 40. 41 and 6 rebounds. 6 rebounds. Can we get to 10? Can we get a double-double? No, I'm just kidding. 40. 41's crazy. 16 to 21 from the field. Jesus. Jackie Young is second with 15. Jackie Young, 41. Days of 87. Let me do some math real quick. She's got most of their points. Gustafson, 0 for 3. Shout out to holding down the fort when A'ja Wilson was off the court. Whoa! The Wings, they're not going away. So this is where we need the WNBA people to slide in the chat and let us know, like we were saying earlier, is this one of these situations where with the lineup fluctuations and, people being in and out, Sabale, like we said, just haven't, let's look up the resume real quick for Sabale and see what we're working with here, because if I'm not mistaken, was she on a all WNBA player last year or in the mix? Well, yeah, probably in the mix, but was she on one of... I forget that they only have 2 teams as well, too. They need to do a third. Just throw a third on there for the fun of it, I guess. For the league size. We just had to self-edit a crazy joke. We're live. Make no mistake. We're doing our best, but for the league size, maybe 2 teams is perfectly okay for right now. Natasha Howard, though, 11 points in the fourth quarter. They just showed the graphic. 23 points for the game, 10 to 20 from the field. Make no mistake, A'ja Wilson may have double the amount of points, but Natasha Howard's having a good game. She's trying her best. And she has been putting in work as well, too. So, with 60 seconds here, they have a chance. What did we get him at, IT? What did we get him at? Did you check BETSTAMP and made sure we had the best odds? BETSTAMP, do you have the WNBA odds? Oh, are we going to get a foul? A foul. Ogunbowale. Tough. So, 62 seconds. The Aces are going to have a chance here to take the lead again. So we'll see where they go. What have the games been like without, now, the few games that Sabale's been able to play? Have they been able to have a close game? Who do we go to? What type of situation? I mean, I guess Ogunbowale is always going to get the shot, but Natasha Howard, like we're saying, playing well tonight too. So maybe there's a case that she just gets in the mix here, but okay, we're under the 60-second mark. Let's lock in. Now's the time, folks. Ace is up by 1. Oh, we've got a miss, an offensive rebound, a foul. Okay, it looks like we're going to get a head start on the free throw game down the stretch here. I don't know if it's intentional or not, but the Wings, hey, we're making back the free throws that we didn't get in the second half, or the first half, here in the second half. So Sabale, 2-time All-Star in her career. This is her 5th season in the league now. Yeah, she was 5th in MVP voting last year. First team All-WNBA at 18 points a game. This year, she's 50% from 3, too. At 5.5 attempts. Yo! We got her at 6 rebounds and up to almost 5 assists. So we got career highs in 3-point percentage, assists. I keep forgetting. Across the 4 games. But if we just do some projections and assume that she could keep this up for the rest of the season, which, what do we got? Like 10 games left for the WNBA here? 10, 12 down the stretch? Okay, they threw the double. They threw the triple team at A'ja Wilson. I think all 5 had hands in on that drive. Pause. Did they even foul her? Where's the contact? And they get the free throws too. Generous. So this is the 3rd career 40-point game for A'ja Wilson. Wow. Did she get 40 earlier this year too? I feel like she did. Let's double check that. What were we saying? We were pulling up the Sabale resume for a reason. Just to check it out. 26 points a game this year for A'ja Wilson. 26 and 12. Nope, no 40 points this year. She's had 8 30-point games. 36 was the highest total of the season. So let's look up her other 40-point games here and see what we got. This was, like they said, her 3rd career 50-point or 40-point game. Spoiler alert. Last year, she had a 50-point game. Her career high for last year was 53 points. Let's see who she did that against. Atlanta. The Atlanta Dream. 53 points, 16 to 23 from the field. And she put up 43 points against Washington as well, too. Oh, man, she did both those games, like, back-to-back. Pause. Pretty close together. Let's see if we can get a stretch here. So, in August last year, let's go August to the end of the season. September 10th. That's 15 games. The last 15 games last year, A'ja Wilson, 26 and 9. With that 40-point game, and then the 53, and then 30, 30, 36 to wrap it up at the end of the year. The Wings still up by 1 with 35 seconds left. Taking a timeout. Don't let Becky Hammon use the clipboard. It's one of the biggest advantages the Aces have. Becky Hammond with the marker. IT, screenshot this. We got a great camera angle of what they're drawing up. Get a screenshot. Send it to the kids' leagues. Pause. I don't know. Got to teach the youth. Oh, yeah, this is what we were saying earlier. Do they draw up a play for Sabale or draw up a play for Ogunbowale? So you've got Sabale with the couple of all-stars. The 50% 3-point percentage. The Grant Williams link. There's just a lot of things going for her at this point. Grant Williams, always finding himself in unlikely situations. The Celtics locker room after winning the championship. Sabale's contacts. But shout out to our guy. Okay, we've got an inbound here for the Aces. Jackie Young running away from the set. Okay, she's back in a screen. Oh, Jackie Young ended up missing. We're watching on our phone, people. It wasn't Jackie Young that got the inbound, but it was Jackie Young that got the shot. And it was a miss. They got a foul. You got a foul, Aces. Now they foul. So the Wings are only going to be able to go up 3 here. With 12 seconds left, we're going to be rich people. Wow, what do you know? Maybe it's going to turn out to be a great stream after all. 1 second, things are cutting in and out. The stream's down. We fire up a new stream, and next thing you know, we're rich people. Did we get the spread and the money line? This is going to be great when they end up dropping this game. Clip it. 26 for Sabale tonight. Make it 27. Now they're up 2. So that means, if they go Asia Wilson, even if she misses here, if they go Asia Wilson post up, she can only tie it. I guess they'll probably foul her. Okay, so there we go. When they foul her, they've got free throw insurance. They're up 3. Do we have timeouts? No timeouts for the Aces. 5 seconds. Wilson for 3. Oh, no. It's off the back of the rim. And the Wings. Let's go, people. BETSTAMP. The links are in the description. I don't want to say that this is why you tune into the watch parties, but maybe this is why you tune into the watch parties, because you end up getting the Wings at -9.5 to start the second half, and you end up snagging that money line. Yeah, baby. The WNBA is great. Sports are great. It's a great time. Great time to be alive. But man, what a game. The 90-93. The Wings take down the Aces. A little upset Thursday. Or I guess upset Tuesday. I don't know why I was thinking it was Thursday. Tuesday night. It's payday. That's why I'm thinking it's closer to the weekend. But a little upset Tuesday. See if we can watch the interview here. How you feeling? Yeah, she's feeling pretty good. Okay, interview success. But shout out to the Aces, man. Spoiling. Shout out to the Wings, I guess. But yeah, shout out to the Aces too. Spoiling the 40-point performance from Asia Wilson. Let's see if we can get a total here with what we ended up. Can we get techie? Can we share it on the screen? Oh, we're going. Look at this. Look at this. 42 in 6. 16 of 22 from the field. 17 from Jackie Young. 15 from Chelsea Gray. 4 of 8 from the field. 15 and 5. 2 rebounds? 5 rebounds for Chelsea Gray. I'm tweaking. 3 of 10 from the field for Kelsey Plum. Let's look up Kelsey Plum's. Shall we just put her on blast right here? She'll be fine when the playoffs start. Faux show. Okay, up over 40% again. We're chilling. 35% from 3. Still really good numbers. 18 a game. Look at the resume. 3rd in MVP voting in 2022. Do we have a picture? Should we scroll up? Let's Okay. Back to the game, people. Back to the basketball of the WNBA. There we go. The first ever WNBA watch along for the Rem and Sam pod. And I gotta say, if we if we end up guessing correctly with the money lines this much, I think these watch parties are gonna be a success. So, like I said, we've got some on the books for I think we've got some scheduled for the NFL season. And make no mistake, we've definitely got them scheduled for the NBA season. But the Sabale Ogunbowale combination is looking pretty sick for the Wings. So who knows? Down the stretch, is this team trying to be feisty? WNBA people, what's going on with the Wings? Are they trying to be feisty? Or is this just one of those wins to try to throw us off the scent as they secretly hope to get tanked out for Paige Beckers? Let's see what the line is right now to be out of the lottery. So Chicago is the lowest ranked playoff team with 11 wins. And Dallas is at 7. So after tonight, they're at 8 wins. So they've still got a couple of wins to play with. Atlanta's at 10. They're at 10 and 19. They're the number 1 team that's currently out of the playoffs. And then, yeah, we mentioned Washington at 8 and 22. They have as the number 2 pick in the draft, and then Dallas at now, I guess they would also be 8 and 22 after tonight. They have them at 7-22 here at the number 3 pick in the draft, but we'll see how that changes. But hey, maybe they're just throwing us off the scent, or maybe with Sabale now back in the mix, this is a team that is just at least going to be feisty to play at the end of the season. I guess, only 5 games out. They'd have to go on a win streak here for sure to make the playoffs, if that's still what they're trying to do. And I guess with Sabale, Natasha Howard, and Ogunbowale, if you throw those 3 on a team, you're probably hoping to win as many games as possible. They're 3-7 in their last 10 going into tonight's game. So if it's a fresh start after tonight, or going into tonight, they're 1-0. And they're ready to make a stretch run here. So I guess they would also include the Chicago Sky would have to kind of, fall apart a little bit too. But let's see what their record was last year with Sabale healthy. Because like we said, was that last season that Sabale was number 5th in MVP voting. So if you've got her back in the mix, and we know Ogunbowale, like we said, is an MVP candidate, and Natasha Howard was doing her thing tonight. They were 22-18. They were 2nd in the WNBA last year. Number 2 overall team. Wait, they have conferences? They were number 2 in the Western Conference. Number 4 overall in the league last year at 22-18. So yeah, this is a top end team in the league when everybody's healthy. Okay, so they had Crystal Dangerfield. They had Crystal Dangerfield on this team last year. Like we said, Sims messing around a little bit, not doing too much. But Dangerfield, of course, this year is not on that team. Looks like she's bounced around between a couple of teams. But between Natasha Howard was 16 a game last year, Ogunbowale at 21, and Sabale at the 18. This team still managed to be, a top 4 team in the WNBA. So now that they've got everybody back, everybody cooking, maybe this is just a sign of things to come in the stretch run here. I don't know if we want to get over our skis, but is there a make the playoffs bet for the Dallas Wings? Oh, it doesn't look like it. Okay, that would have been, maybe we're going a little, we're feeling ourselves a little bit too much there if we're just all of a sudden going to bet the Wings to make the playoffs after one random Tuesday night victory over the Aces. But on the other hand, the Aces, I know, like we were saying, they weren't the number one team in the WNBA. Let's see where their standing would be at here after tonight's loss and going into tonight's game. Oh, we don't want the NBA season. We want the WNBA season. The Liberty are the number one team at 26-5. Okay. The Sun at 22-7. Yeah. Number 2. The Link at 22-8. Number 3. And then the Aces have taken the wing spot at number 4, 18-11. So they moved to 18-12 after tonight. Probably the most games that Becky Hammond's had to lose in her career. Yeah, they were 26-10 her first season in, and that would have been 10 losses compared to what they had last year. Would have been her worst. So definitely a team that hopefully is going to be remembered by its playoff successes, but still comfortably. Well, I know the Storm are also 18-11. So let's see who the Storm got upcoming in their next couple of games here. Their next game is going to be against the Dream tomorrow night, Wednesday night. So make no mistake, the Storm are going to be 19-11 after Wednesday night. So they're going to flip spot. This is the type of stuff down the stretch like we had last year with Wembanyama messing up the Nuggets run and potentially, throwing a wrench into the NBA playoff race last year. The Aces are going to drop. Now, let's just say the Storm beat the Dream because the Dream are, like we said, 10-19. But if they beat the Dream and they move to 19-11, the Aces at 18-12, the Aces now move to 5. The Aces don't have home court in the playoffs. If this were to bear out the standings this way. So the Mercury are the 6th team, and they are 16-15, a couple of game cushion there between those teams. But Seattle, Jewel Lloyd, Neko Ogumake. Let me remind myself who else on this. Skylar Diggins-Smith on this roster. Yeah. And wait, did they get Gabby Williams? Is that new? I did just see that she signed with a team, but I guess I forgot that. Yeah, it was Seattle, and she did just play 25 minutes, 1 for 5. So, the Olympic Magic maybe taking a load management for the Olympic Magic. Some of that Olympic juice that got her signed to this roster. But Skylar Diggins-Smith, Neko Ogumake, Jewel Lloyd. The WNBA is going to be competitive here down the stretch, and we're going to be locked in to try to see what's going on. And as this goes, we'll try to, cook up some takes. We'll see how it goes. WNBA people in the chat, don't get mad at us if we have a WNBA take. We're just messing around. We're just having a good time. Just trying to bring, trying to talk about it like normal, trying to chop it up. Talking about, how it is, just talking WNBA with the boys. I think it's gonna be, is it gonna be a common thing? I could definitely see it. Caitlin Clark is already a topic of conversation everywhere. So make no mistake, the WNBA is going to be, and already has been, a fantastic season up until this point. But we did it. We made it through the fourth quarter without technical difficulties. Like I said, we're still in the early stages here of putting all the pieces together and figuring out how this stuff fully works. So thank you guys, everybody, for, whoever's watching right now, whoever's locked into the WNBA. If you guys are locked into the WNBA and then locked into a WNBA watch party, make no mistake, you guys are true basketball degenerates just like us. So I guess that's why maybe you would find this interesting. But we will be here, like I said, to follow along with the rest of the WNBA season. And hopefully without any other technical difficulties to interrupt us during the game. So thank you guys for jumping on the stream. Thank you guys for watching along. We will be back this weekend. We will be back Friday night. Pretty sure we're doing a live stream. I don't know if we have any big games going on in the background. The UFA, of course, is over, and we've got a weekend break before we finally hit the NFL season. Let's see what we got on the schedule. Of course, we probably got some more WNBA in our sights here for Friday night. Let's see. I don't know if we want to promise a WNBA watch party, but we'll look up and see what we got. We've got, okay, so we've got the fever in the sky. We've got Angel Reese versus Caitlin Clark in Chicago Friday night. Ladies and gentlemen, I think we might be there. We might be live. And then after that, we've got the Storm and the Liberty as well, too. We've got some, make no mistake, we've got some exciting WNBA games in our sights for this weekend. So let's go. I can't wait. I'm sure, tell your friends, people. Tell your friends. It's going to be exciting. The Rem and Sam watch parties. We are here. Don't go anywhere. Subscribe because, like I said, we are going to be really cranking this up pause once the NFL and the NBA get underway. So we will hop off the stream now while we still have our good luck with our IT stuff. But maybe we should stay on and just keep riding the wave, but the WNBA wave. But I think that'll do it for tonight. Thank you guys for listening. We're at Rem and Sam Pod on Instagram, TikTok, Spotify, Apple Podcast, all those platforms. So stay tuned, and we will be back this weekend, like I said. Peace out, guys.